Well, hello, YouTube. First, let me say Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you guys. Yeah, as I'm filming this, it's a couple days after Christmas. A little late Christmas present, but I hope you had a great and joyful Christmas with your family, by yourself, whatever, tis the season, right? So I just want to say Merry Christmas to you guys, and we are back in the shop, or I'm back in the shop. I kind of fill you guys in on where we're at, and oh, I got to give a shout out to my youngest daughter who joined me. She came down from Butler, and this is my Christmas present from her. I Hannah, I love you, miss you already, and I miss all my girls. I gotta give a shout out to Carly and Jackie and all the grandkids, but whatever, not whatever. It's important. So it's been a crazy holiday season here at the Norton household as we go into getting ready for the new year, new year, new projects kind of stuff. But I still got a project that I got to play catch up on. I am literally about 2 months behind schedule. Yeah, it is what it is, though. Like I've always said, a wise rabbi once told me, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So as you guys, I'm going to kind of do a recap. You guys can skip the recap for those that know where we're at, but for those that are new, I'll kind of do a recap with you. So we are working on the elevator here. So we got the right side elevator done. We did complete that, except we have to put in the leading edge. But I'm going to do that all at the same time when I do the left, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. And so we've got the elevator, and for those that don't know what an elevator is, I'll put a picture of it here so you guys have an idea. But it's basically the back on the back wing horizontal, not vertical. The vertical is the one that looks like the tiger's fin, but the horizontal stabilizer, the elevator's attached to that, and that's what controls up and down. Airplane talk, we call it pitch. So that's what we're working on now. Like I said, I got the right side all done, and now, as you can see there, I got the left side in pieces. And I decided to do that for a reason, because I wanted to make sure that when I was working on one, I had one mocked up so I can visualize how the parts. You get great plans from vans, but it's really nice to be able to hold the part mocked up. So I had a right and a left, so I left one mocked up as I was assembling the other one. Now I have this one assembled, and I can apply that to the one that I still need to assemble. We still got a lot of work ahead of us. We got easily a week's worth of work. I've got to dimple all of the parts, so that way when we put and I'll show you here on the horizontal stabilizer, when we rivet, our rivets are flush. Isn't that awesome? That's vans, it's beautiful. So they're flush. So what we have to do is we have to dimple each rivet, or each piece of skin, or each piece of metal. So today I'm going to have the pneumatic riveter out, and each one of these parts, we're going to get those riveted together, or get those not riveted together. We're going to get those dimpled. We're going to get them dimpled, and then some of the bigger pieces, which are the metal, the thicker metal, we're actually going to have to use the countersink tool, which is a drill which countersinks on the thicker, because your dimpler just, even though it compresses, it just it doesn't do a good enough job, especially on the thicker metals and everything. So we'll have to pull out the countersink, and then we'll just cut the dimples using the countersink. When I get done with that, then I got to do the skins, and that's using the C-frame down there, and then the skins are up there on the top. You can see them. So each one of the holes in the skin also needs to be dimpled. So today we're going to be dimpling. That's pretty much what we're going to be doing today. One of the things you're going to learn about building the RV-10 or building any kind of airplane, it is a lot of rinse and repeat. A lot of rinse and repeat. And so it's, you know, I can sit here and, you know, put a camera up in the corner and just shoot down and you know, speed it up and everything. But what I choose to do is when I come across a part or somewhere where I need to explain something to the viewers, to you guys, I will stop, show you that, and then we'll move on. But this is pretty cut and dry. You guys have seen me use the pneumatic squeezers before. I will show you that again because it's been, gosh, it's almost been 6-7 months since I've done those types of videos. So I'll add those to it. We'll get that done and everything. But yeah, we got a good 4 days, 4 days of work to get all these parts. The goal today is to get the structural parts, the spars and the ribs all dimpled. And then we will reset the bench for the C-frame down there, and then we'll dimple the skins, the holes in the skin. So that will, you know, that's about 2 days worth of work. Then we got to prep, prime. We're not going to use our spray booth. We do have a fairly large spray booth. We're not going to use that for this. I still got some of the SEM product that we're gonna use up and everything. Now, one thing I did notice about SEMs, I got to tell you this. If you do use SEM, the longer you let the part sit, the more durable. And when I say durable, the least likely it is going to scratch off, peel off. I found that out. And it's not by design. You know, with life and work and everything, end of the year is really busy for me in my real job. It's where everybody's trying to get everything done before the holidays, which we're right in the middle of right now. I primed a lot of the parts, and it wasn't until like a week or two before I can even get back to them, get back in here and get to work. And I found out that the SEM paint is very durable, very scratch resistant. If I primed a part, waited a day or two, even two, and came in, you could still kind of scratch it off. But I will tell you, if you wait a week to 2 weeks, if you have that in your budget or in your time, man, the SEM is pretty strong stuff. But since I'm going to be painting my own airplane, I switched from the quick build to the slow build just because of all the issues with getting parts and stuff on the quick build. So now I'm going to be painting it. It's economically not feasible to use the SEM because of the cost. So you know, a can of SEM primer is about $17 to $19 a can. Yeah, and I could easily go through 2 cans for one part. So, you know, where I can buy a 2-part epoxy primer for a fraction of the cost and do the whole paint. So there you go. Telling my Apple Watch is telling me she found some epoxy primer for me. Imagine that. Gosh, big brother's listening. But you guys know the routine. I appreciate you coming in here, spending your day, spending some time with me here as day in the shop and everything. But like always, plane's not going to build itself, so we got to get to work. So I wanted to share something with you. So sometimes you run into situations where you don't know if you should put the male or the female in what direction. I found that when I'm doing these parts here along the side, it's better to put it in this orientation versus the other, because you're not fighting this machine against the part this way. If it was the other way around, see how it doesn't go, it won't allow you to actually put this in there straight. So what you have to do is kind of cockeye it, which of course will bend the part. So when you are doing these ribs on the elevator, I find that if you put the male down on the pneumatic side and then the female up on the yoke, on the top yoke side, it allows you to get into the part a lot easier. And that way when you squeeze it, you're actually squeezing perpendicular to the part, and you're not putting a twist. If you look at some of the pieces prior to me finding that out, you'll see that some of the pieces have a little twist in them now, because of that. So I switched it over. I did 3 like that, and now I'm doing the other ones this new way. And let me see if I can find you one that really twisted pretty good. It's not too bad, but yeah, I find that, like I said, if you put your dies or your set, and these are called sets, but if you put your set where the female is in a stationary position and the male is in the pneumatic, it will allow you to actually make sure that when you're squeezing, when you're running the squeezer, that you're actually perpendicular to the part. See, that actually lines up so much better. So just a little hint, a little, something that I discovered, and hopefully that will help you. All right, so we have this spar, this front spar, which is basically, I'll go over here and show you what it looks like. So it is this spar here, right? And then the elevator, the elevator trim goes in here. The instructions are, because we are countersinking, right? So we have to countersink this piece all the way through, because it carries all the way through this elevator here. So we have to countersink this piece. Now on this one, I will tell you, I was a nervous wreck. And let me tell you why. I used the pneumatic squeezer, this guy, right? But because of the size, and let me kind of show you here, but because of the size, I actually had to put, if you see the male part that drove through, I had to line this up, and then I had to push the button, and squeeze it. Well, this is 3,000 pounds of pressure. If you're off right here, this thing will literally go right through that metal. So if you're not perfectly lined up on that hole when you squeeze it, now you can feather it. That's what's nice about these pneumatics, and kind of line it up and hope that you go through. And that's exactly what I did on that piece over there. I will tell you, if you watch the videos, I was a nervous wreck, because if you don't line it up, you can oblong this hole. I did it here. You can oblong the hole. You can do all, I didn't oblong the hole, but you can, or you, like I said, you can actually punch through it, and then the part has to be mediated, probably thrown away. It becomes scrap and you have to get a new part. So on this go around, I'm actually going to use my countersink on my drill. Well, it gives me a little bit more control. I don't have to worry about squeezing. I have control. Yes, it's going to take more time, but actually I don't think it will, because instead of trying to line it up and get the pneumatic just right and hope and pray and all that, I think this will probably be easier. So I would recommend from doing it using the pneumatic squeezer on that part, and using the drill with the countersink bit on this one. If I was you, I would probably do this right here. Use the countersink, and I'll do that, and I'll let you know when I get done doing this how I feel. But I think by far this is the safest way to keep you from not messing up the part, without a doubt. So this is probably the best way, but I'll go ahead and get this done, and I'll kind of give you an idea of how long it took me. But I will tell you, the other way, it did take me quite a while, and I was a nervous wreck, because you've got at least 100 holes that you have to do, and each one needs to be perfect. So I'm just saying, probably this is the way to go, but we'll see. All right, so when using the countersink, now there's a couple things. Now I've got different countersinks. You can buy one. I got it labeled. When I set my countersink up, I use a scrap piece of metal, and I make sure before I actually use it on the working part. It's up there in the rack. So I drill a hole and then I test it. But one of the things I do is I put my tape, because each one of these little teeth is about 1 millimeter, I would like to say, in depth. So I get my depth set just right. And then I put tape over it, as you guys can see here, with my label to tell me the size, to keep it there. And then as I countersink, I do one, and then I take the rivet. And the whole idea with the countersink is you want that rivet to sit flush with the part once the rivet's in, because that's how the hole is. So I do that. So I get a rivet and I take that rivet and I do my countersink, and then I check it to make sure that it didn't move, because it could. You know, it's not going to shrink or anything because it is steel, hardened steel. But then I use a rivet to just QA and make sure it's flush, and that's perfectly right. I can already tell you, believe it or not, this is a lot quicker than using the pneumatic. This is so much better and quicker. So I'm gonna finish this part here, and then I've got to use, I got the back spar, the bigger spar. I can probably, you know what, because of the ease of this, I'll probably just go ahead and use the countersink on that one as well. I think it's just so much easier and a lot faster. So I've got this spar and then that spar, and believe it or not, all my parts are pretty much dimpled. As you can see here, they're all dimpled. And then I'll have to do the skins, which will probably be another video another day. So, all right, so I've got a lot of countersinking to do here, and to get this ready to go. All right, YouTube. All right, so got a lot more done than I anticipated. So I got the skins dimpled. I got all the parts countersunk and dimpled where they needed to be countersunk. And actually the plans on that one piece that I used the countersink did require, and I did remember that right before I started. I'll show you that right here. So you had to countersink these, and the reason why is because there is a piano hinge. Let me see if I've got the piano hinge here. I don't think I've got it out here in my parts. Yeah, it's actually locked up in another, or it's actually wrapped up in another parts. But the piano hinge has to sit flush anyway, so that was a good call. If you guys can see it here, it's flush. So the piano hinge goes up against here. So if you countersink, it will actually push through. If you look at how the countersink, how it raises right there, where you want it flush. So we got that done. I did make sure when I did this one, I made sure that I had these countersink. I missed this when I originally did this piece, and that's why it's really nice to have the two, so you can kind of as a reference. So I was able to get, I did that on that part, made sure it was actually countersunk, undimpled. And yeah, so I do, like I said, I recommend that when you're doing this, that instead of doing both at the same time, do one and then do the other elevator and everything. So yep, got everything dimpled. So what we will do tomorrow is come in, clear off the bench here. This is the dimpler that puts these dimples in, and it is a manual process. So tomorrow we'll clear off the bench. I've got to then acetone and then scarf up all of the pieces so that they'll take the primer. So what I do with that, and you guys will see that, but I use my handy dandy die grinder here, my Husky die grinder. This has got, we're doing some metal work, but I'll use a different type of wheel than that, which basically is a Scotch-Brite wheel. One of these. and then I'll also use a Scotch Brite. Just go back through, deburr, check. I always do deburring again. I've already deburred these pieces, but I'll do them again just to make sure. And then what we'll do is get the paper laid out, and then we maybe can prime these. I'm gonna try something since this is the last piece of prime, and maybe I'll tape these up. I don't know. I'm thinking the way the primer works on these skins is that the nozzle will do it. So, I mean, I don't care about overspray, to be honest with you. I know guys, oh, wait. Well, you know what? I'm not worried about weight because I need to lose a lot. I need to lose a lot more than the paint is going to put in here. So what I'm going to do is that, you know, if you guys remember, I taped this all up and everything. I think I'm just going to shoot the paint. I will edge, unlike last time. I will edge these here and here to protect them. So because we've got to use Pro Seal to seal those up. Those are what you're looking at there. And that's the other thing I have to do here. That's why I've got this open, is I've got to come through here and take this primer off, because this is the leading edge of the elevator. So this has got to be Pro Sealed, and you want the Pro Seal to actually attach to the metal and not to the primer. So I've got to clear that off, which that ought to be interesting. So yeah. All right, so yeah, so we got a lot done, a lot more than what I planned on doing today in the shop. But hey, getting the flow. I will tell you that because I already did one elevator, even though it was a while back, even though I did one elevator, I kind of knew the routine, and so I was able to get a lot done today. I got all my dimpling done, all my countersinking done. Everything done. Tomorrow we'll get it prepped and deburred. We'll do a final deburring of it, of everything, and then hopefully we'll shoot a coat of paint on it and get that ready to go. So yeah, we're moving right along and everything, and wow, it feels good to be back into the shop and everything. I mean, I enjoy the holidays, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy the holidays and spending the time with the family and everything, but hey, I like building these airplanes. This is like I said, you guys heard me before, you know, make me an offer and I'll switch careers. I can see myself going off into the sunset as an airplane builder. I really enjoy it. I know I hear that a lot, or we hear that a lot from guys that build this. I mean, I know Go Fly Go, he's on number 2. I know a lot of builders, they actually enjoy the building process, and I do too. I really do. So yeah, that's about it for today. We'll get back in here, we'll get everything squared up and locked up for tonight, and then we'll get back in here later on in the in the week, hopefully tomorrow. We'll get in here, not hopefully, but that's the plan. We'll get in here tomorrow, deburr everything, get it primed and ready, or get it cleaned up, deburred. You got to do some Scotch Brite to scarf the metal up for priming. So, like always, I appreciate you guys joining me tonight or today in the shop. Leave your comments. Tell your friends about us. Go out to your local EAA chapter meeting. Find one if you're interested. If you want to learn how to build an airplane, that's highly recommended. That's where I started, was with my local EAA chapter in Brooksville, Florida. So get out there and everything. If you have a comment or question as it pertains to the airplane, feel free to leave it. I'll try to answer it and everything as soon as possible. It's got to be about the airplane. Don't care about all the other stuff. And like always, God bless. Take care. Be safe. And see you when we see you again.